This Scorpio full moon is a time when our subconscious comes to light. This could be uncomfortable moments of subconscious material coming to the surface because Scorpio and Taurus axis is in conjunct to all the planets in Aries, which means they don't see each other. They're not within degrees that can make angles that have clear communication. This makes this Scorpio full moon extra subconscious. So be patient with yourself as conflicts show up in relationships, communication is misunderstood, and the way that you're feeling, feelings that come to the surface might be foggy and unclear at first. You might feel like the feelings are coming up because of someone else or some other situation. But the situations showing up are designed for just that, to activate subconscious material, to bring it into a present moment and integrate so that we know what's vibrating in the background all the time so that we can make friends with those feelings. I have been waking up every single day. I woke up this morning with a dream from the past, which I have been doing for quite some time now. But this one was very vivid, very fresh emotion on the surface when I woke up. It was a dream about abandonment and rejection and blame for things that I was being misunderstood for. And the feelings that that evoked, I realized that that was at the core of a lot of my anxiety at the moment, that I've been doing something wrong every day. And I said this in the last video, and I will bring this up a lot because I think that myself and I think we need reminders of the purposefulness of emotion coming to the surface. And it's not just for us to feel uncomfortable. It's so we can separate ourselves from experiences from the past and gain the knowledge and intelligence that we need to from those situations and move into the future that we want our lives to look like. We have all planets direct, but Mercury is combust for a section of time in May, so I'm going to go over that. I also think that the Uranus-Venus conjunction that happened before this full moon is carrying a story forward that is important as well. I am going to focus on that Scorpio-Taurus axis. But a few extra things that I think make this more of a Venusian mercurial activation at this time. In the introduction, I will go into these important dates with Mercury and Venus and what it means at the time of this full moon. That'll give you all the understanding of what this full moon is all about. And then check your sun, moon, and rising if you know all three, and combine all three to get a better sense of where this is showing up in your life. Mars and Pluto are the rulers of this full moon, the rulers of Scorpio. Mars is applying to a square with Jupiter, which is a strong aspect. And Mars in Aries applying to the square in Jupiter, this speaks to a final crisis in action, in what we need to do, what actions do we need to take to get the Jupiterian in Cancer energy that we want. And that's about healing family wounds, family dynamics, feeling a sense of comfort and safety in our lives and in our world and with the people close to us. Situations are going to show up for everyone in different ways that help us create closer bonds and a sense of safety with the people closest to us. What's likely to show up with Mars applying to this square with Jupiter, Mercury exactly conjunct Chiron in Aries. This is wounds about communication, thought processes, and the way that we express ourselves with the people that we care about most, this Jupiter in Cancer. Do you feel heard? Do you feel understood? Do you feel like your actions align with what you want to create with other people? These are questions that are going to come up around the situations during this time. It will become more apparent what our subconscious is driving us to do and what we actually want to do. Mars, as one of the rulers of Scorpio, being in Aries, means that this is about our personal action. Mars is action and moving forward and initiation and passion. And Aries is one of its home signs, so it's comfortable there, but it's about taking action for self. Less about the scorpionic picture, though that is important because that's where the moon is. Now, the tricky thing with Mercury right now, and why I think Mercury deserves a lot of attention for this full moon, is because of the conjunction to Chiron. It's exact at 27 degrees. Those of you that have planets in Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, and Libra will feel potentially that Chiron more, especially the later degrees. This is where we're coming together with a shared mutual wound. So remember to think about that with any situations that show up with other people, that there's a shared wound that's creating the situation. And during a full moon, we're always mirroring each other. So what is it about the situation? And I love quoting Byron Katie's work because a full moon is so Byron Katie. It's about if we're frustrated with something in the outer world, what is that actually reflecting back about us? And with her work, she emphasizes that very likely the exact thing that we are frustrated about in our external world is something that we have done ourselves. With Scorpio, though, it is always that we don't necessarily remember. For me, it happens in the morning when I'm first waking up. It's very strong when I come out of dreams and I start to process the dream. I'll realize that the very pain that was caused for me at some time in my life, I did cause for someone else. In order to put an end to these cycles, we need to be really aware of our pain and be able to nurture it ourselves. And that's the Jupiter in Cancer again. And not project it out into the outer world, but appreciate what the outer world is showing us as far as what we're still carrying on the inside. Mercury conjunct Chiron is one element with Mercury. By Hellenistic astrology rules, when Mercury gets too close to the sun within 8 degrees, it's considered combust and it's considered a bit more of a struggle with communication, mental capacity. It's not fully like a Mercury retrograde, but it could lead to more confusion and more of a need to sort through the muck. So here's the even trickier thing with Mercury is that Mercury is going to be combust from May 7th until May 22nd. What that means is that it's within 8 degrees of the sun, 2 to 8 degrees, because when it is within 1 degree of the sun, it is considered cazimi, and this is a really wonderful placement for Mercury. That is going to happen on May 9th. Leading up to May 9th, when Mercury is applying to the sun, this is a time when we can be more impulsive and act before we think. Once Mercury moves past the sun and becomes an evening star, then we're a bit more reflective of what has been going on. I think leading up to May 9th, with all of this Aries energy we've had, even though the sun and Mercury are in Taurus, where there's more of a slow, steady, fixed movement, there's still a lot of Aries activity. And I think that there's going to be a level of impulsivity up until May 9th that is, and around the time of this full moon, which creates confusion, which creates misunderstandings, potentially conflicts with people, conflicts with ourselves, the feeling of being misunderstood. These are all going to help us reflect more on the ways that we're communicating. But more importantly, the Scorpio full moon is about reflecting on our own psyche, reflecting on how these misunderstandings make us feel, reflecting on how conflicts make us feel. What is our reflexive behavior around conflicts, and where does that stem from in our subconscious? So a little social experiment. Between May 7th and May 22nd, if you feel like there's a bit of Mercury retrograde feelings, wonkiness in your communication, misunderstandings, not being able to express what it is that's really on your mind, not being able to express what aligns with your values because these planets, Mercury and the Sun, will be in Taurus, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear how this Mercury combust shows up in your life, May 7th to May 22nd. May 9th is Mercury Kazemi, new beginnings when it comes to writing projects and communication of all kind. A piece that might be useful for managing our communication is leaning into our intuition. As much as possible, go into how it feels, not what we think we should do. That can be a tricky place to navigate because we need to be more in touch with our feelings to do that. We need to be able to separate what our past fears and anxieties are and what we feel in the present moment. So that's what the Scorpio full moon is helping us to do. The sun in Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus has just gone through a conjunction with Uranus, which is a moment of divine intelligence, a moment of seeing things differently, seeing things from a different perspective, downloads, insights, sudden changes of heart. That's Venus. Sudden changes of values. This is going to be different for everyone, each person's personal chart. But when Venus moves on from this conjunction with Uranus, Uranus then moves into Gemini. I have a whole other video on that. Check that one out in the description below if you're interested in more of that. But then Venus squares the nodes at the time of this full moon. And what that means is that we're reactivating the lunar nodal axis. This is where the eclipses have been. This is where the themes of Pisces and Virgo kick back into play. And we are going to be recalibrating the ways that we use Virgo and Pisces energy in our lives. Are you well? Are you overworking? Are we taking care of health? Are we doing service to ourselves and others that's helpful and beneficial? In the Pisces side of things, this is where we're being called to lean into more with the Venus square. Are we dissociating from situations, or are we taking active, energetic roles in this? It's very sorcerer energy when we have a Scorpio full moon and the nodal and the north node activated in Pisces. This is shapeshifter, this is magician, this is how do we change the energy within us. We are conductors of energy, conduits of energy, and we're in this period of practicing how to change what's going on in our inner world despite what's going on in the outer world. And maybe not really despite of, but it's the outer world that is giving us no choice but to either follow the lead of the outer world and suffer or be confused or enjoy the chaos or whatever it is, or realize that there's a dial in the internal world that we can work with. So however this is showing up for you, this is another quality of the moon at this time where Venus is in that story. Venus will be in Gemini, where it is all about the ideas that we draw on that can change our values, that can change our inner vibration, because Venus is squaring the north node in Pisces, and we have a Scorpio full moon. So we are looking at our own psychological transformation, our own transformational power. And I guess that's it. It's as simple as that. We could get pinged around by our external circumstances, or use that activation to figure out what the programming and the background frequency has been going on in our system and why. Are we afraid? Are we anxious? Do we think that we're always set up for failure? Do we think that our lives are going to fall apart? This is the Jupiter and Cancer part where we're healing past programming from our family lineage, from our inner world. And we're figuring out that yes, maybe there's potential for all of those things, but very likely the potential for it is a lot stronger if we're still stuck in fear, anxiety, and collapse and not moving forward. And bit by bit, this isn't all at once, but this is one of those moments where we have one more opportunity to get that much closer to moving into the energetic space that we want to, creating the connections and safety with family-related topics with Jupiter and Cancer. Resetting our values with this Venus-Uranus conjunction. And from those places and the scorpionic psychological awareness, move into something brand new. But it's going to be different for each of you. So now let's get into where in your life these situations might show up. And that'll give you more clues as to what to do with all of that energy that I just talked about. Hi, Aries. This is an 8th house full moon for you. This is all about your psyche, your transformation, sudden reversals, sudden changes, other people's resources, merging with another person, and in deep intimacy or sharing assets and resources. This is a house where you're reworking how you're supported by other people, whether it's financial or energetic or anything else in life. It's through psychological deepening and work that we do individually that helps us bond more deeply with other people as well. And there's a psychological piece around abundance, around values, around letting resources come to you at this time. This is by practical means. It could be a time where resources do show up, potentially some endings or changes to the way that finances have been divided. But this is in conjunct to your sign. So this is an awkward, frustrating, potentially moment where you're not exactly sure what is going on, why you're feeling the way you're feeling. You have Mars, your ruler, in your sign. You have so much activity in your sign like never before. So I wouldn't be surprised if Aries people out there are starting to feel that. Some people have reported they're feeling amazing. Your own ruler in your sign can make you feel that way, especially Mars, increased vitality. The sun, though, which is about vitality, has moved on into Taurus. But you still have Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, Mars, and Chiron. And that's stirring up a lot about you, about your body, about how you initiate things in the world that you want to go after. This is a time where any psychological blockages that have been holding you back that are subconscious could show up, and that could be the frustrating layer, because you could realize that, especially with Saturn in your sign now, you could realize that you're getting a bit of a slowdown. And this slowdown is purposeful so that we can rework self-energy. We can rework what you've been imprinted with as far as how to operate in this world. Venus squaring the nodes is happening in your 3rd house to your 12th house with the North Node of Pisces. This is about using the energy, using your intuition, taking time to rest. It could be that you are taking a time out and you're needing to rework your communication, how you receive care from other people. There could be changes with cousins, close relatives, siblings, neighbors, short distance travel, but writing is a big one. Your thought process with Venus here. What is it about your conscious thoughts and your day-to-day thoughts that show you where your values are at? Right now, Venus in Gemini can be opening up curiosity, and it could be some ideas that come to you through the news, through media, about relationships, about money, about values that jar you into a different perspective of Pisces, Virgo stuff. So it might change your perspective of your work ethic, your health, how you move forward with food and nourishing body as far as health and routines and habits. And how does that affect your energy? That's something that I'm always trying to adjust and shift in my life, is that I know certain foods feel good in the moment, don't feel good the next day. As far as our psychology, that might be something you're starting to pay attention to. And with the Virgo component, there is a letting go of needing to fix things or needing to be overly perfect or working too hard. There is that element showing up for you, Aries, of what is your work-rest balance. Venus squaring the nodes is the ruler of your 2nd house and your partnership house, your 7th house. So partnerships could play a role here. You could get unexpected communication or communication that opens up something hidden, something energetic that you didn't see before about your values and your partnerships. So I see Aries people recalibrating your own psyche, but really in a way that helps your bonds. Whether you are in a committed relationship, you're dating, or friends, or just people on the street, or if you have a tendency to hide completely, this is still going to show up in your 7th house energy, your relationship behaviors. And if you tend to isolate, or you have more of a hermit life and you don't have a lot of one-on-one connections, then when I talk about the 7th house, these are going to be moments where you start to adjust, maybe, or you're given opportunities to adjust. You don't have to. For some people, that is the energy and that is the quality. The 7th house of other people can show up in people in our everyday lives as well. There are a few that might be very isolated, in which case there's often caretakers and those sort of things, still significant people coming through in some capacity. This looks like energy where you are adjusting your tone, you're adjusting your mindset, you're realizing that everyone is coming from a place of trauma at some point. This is the Mercury Chiron connection in your 1st house. You're probably realizing that you have a lot to offer other people as far as your own wounds around taking action, asserting yourself out in the world. We all have them to varying degrees because as children, we are just not allowed to do everything we want to do. And that puts a psychological framework of limitation and lack of freedom. And then as adults, we need to reframe that because we know more or less what's appropriate. And we just need to feel better about the things that we do. So this is what I see showing up. It's very psychological for you. It's very energetic. Whatever situations are coming to the surface are going to help you feel better in your body, feel better in the action that you take, in the persona that you share with the world. The 1st house is also that first glimpse that other people get of you. And that's where all this activity is. So that's, when you watch someone walking down the street and they either look like they're shining and vibrating really lovely, or the opposite. They look like their light is dimmed and they're struggling in some way. These are not always physiological indicators. But I would love to hear from you, Aries. How is this feeling in your life? Are you feeling all of this 1st house energy? Are you feeling this scorpionic full moon? Do you find that it's a moment to get into the psychology right now? Or maybe just tax time with other people's resources being highlighted here? Would love to hear from you. It's so much fun chatting with you in the comments and meeting you for one-on-one Zoom readings. If you would like to find out more about your personal chart and book a reading with me, I will leave that in the description below. But thank you for just being here and supporting this channel. Have a wonderful Scorpio full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Taurus. This is the 7th house full moon for you. So this is partnerships. Partnerships are always going to offer an opportunity for you, especially, to go deeper into your own psyche. This is something that as a Taurus archetype, it is not natural. It is your opposite, opposing energy. And we need opposites in our lives. We need other people to bring out qualities in us that are not a reflex or not innate. If you have Taurus rising especially, your innate qualities are more Taurian. They are about walking through the world in a solid way. There's a need to keep things steady, tried, tested, and true, because that usually leads to a more pleasurable experience in life. Why go into the dark depths of the underworld if you can smell the roses and stay in the beauty of the earthly realm? Well, the underworld is where we do our best work. It's where we create the most change in our lives. And it's through other people right now that you might feel activated to expand your connection to energy. You have a stacked 12th house, and I'm going to be talking about this a lot because Saturn and Neptune in your 12th house are here for quite some time. Right now, Mercury's here with Chiron activating a wound that you might have when it comes to blocking your intuitive abilities. Maybe it's a wound that has to do with rest and retreat, or maybe it's something that you were taught that is blocking your access to spiritual wisdom. Regardless of the detail, when you have all of these planets in your 12th house and a full moon in Scorpio in your 7th house, this is about the unseen realms. This is about what is beneath the surface. So Taurus, get ready and be patient with yourself if you find experiences right now pulling you into uncomfortable psychic and psychology realms that you would rather overlook. Take a few minutes, take a half a day, whatever it is, take a time out. When you have Saturn, Neptune, Mercury, and Chiron activating your 12th house, this is a house of rest. This is a good time to step away from the rest of the world, step away from your duties, your tasks, what you need to get done, the things that you think make you feel secure from getting things done. And what you might find at this time is that you actually get more done behind the scenes. You get more done from rest. You could even find that your motivation is low with Mars in your 12th house. This is energy before it goes into your signs shortly. The 12th house is known as the cosmic womb. It is where we rest and grow, and it's where we do our most growth, in utero, in the womb. And it's once we're born that the process in life somewhat slows that down. That's that Saturnian quality in the world. The earth signs, when we incarnate into earthly form, things are much slower than what happens in an energetic realm or even slightly before we're born. During this period of time that I'm talking about, from May 7th until May 22nd, where Mercury is combust under the rays of the sun, part of this is going to be in your sign. And I have a feeling that Tauruses might feel an enhanced piece of that miscommunication, being misunderstood, perhaps misunderstanding others. And this is the invitation to go deeper into the psychology of how does that make you feel to be misunderstood? How does it make you feel when you get frustrated with other people and maybe there's a misunderstanding there? A full moon in Scorpio is always a feeling moon, and Taurus, by isolated archetype, is not a sign of feeling. It's a sign of doing. So again, that's where you could be feeling this polarity or tension of going into ways of living that you don't necessarily go into easily every day. Uranus is out of your sign, and now it's in your second house for a long stay, not going back to Taurus for quite some time. If you want more information on that transit, check out my Uranus and Gemini video. For this period of time, Uranus and Mercury in your second house are potentially radically changing your values, the way that you eat, the way you nourish your body. This is the Taurus house, the second house. So this is all about the finer things in life, enjoying life to the fullest. Venus can be an indulgent sign. It can be decadent. It's enjoying chocolate and sweets and flowers and all of the things that are pleasurable in life. This Venus transit through the second house of Gemini is showing you or giving you ideas, because Gemini is about ideas. You might see things online. You might get some information in media that makes you start to recalibrate your values, how you spend your money, how you invest your money. Venus is a money planet and archetype, as well as food and nourishment and beauty and all of those things. Venus is in a separating sextile from Saturn, and this is the restructuring. There's something about overseas places with the 12th house, rest, dissolving. You could be dissolving and restructuring financial matters, beauty considerations, and especially the way you take care of yourself, the way you enjoy life and pleasure and maintain what is important to you for your health and money. The other thing with all of these planets in the 12th house is that there can be a level of dissociation that you become aware of. Perhaps there's something with food or pleasure or money that you've been turning a blind eye to and you didn't even realize. And that's something that can come up at a full moon like this. and it might come up through significant partnerships. It's not that someone else is necessarily pointing this out to you. It's through observing other people that you realize what you want to do, what you don't want to do for yourself. It's through observing other people. If we ask the right questions and we think about our judgments and concerns and interactions with other people, all as a reflection of what we really think about ourselves, what we want to think about ourselves, then that can invite more questions into exploring your own motivations, your own thoughts of other people and what they're up to, and how you might want to incorporate or change some of your own actions as it relates to Venus-like things. The money, the beauty, the pleasure, all of that. And for you, Venus squaring the nodes is your 11th and 5th house. Specifically, this Venus square is looking to go back over something with all of this Pisces energy. You've spent so much time here over the last few years, but there's something to go back over of your networks, your community, making sure that you're all working towards a shared goal. So that can be something to consider around the full moon. If whatever's showing up with significant people in your life, do you share the same values and concerns for humanitarian goals? Do you share the same values when it comes to pleasure and beauty and food and nourishment and the Venusian things that you enjoy? You're letting go of more of your own self-criticism. That's the South Node getting the square from Venus in your 5th house. This is allowing you to not have to fix anything about your authentic creativity, not having to redo, not having to be of service, to just be. There's something about this full moon coming up that's also showing you where you can be more authentically you. You don't have to be doing anything to be of value. You don't have to be fixing. You don't have to be of a certain financial status. In this case, maybe just having shared values with the people that matter to you. But it's energy like this that could be about recalibrating your own values, that you're reflecting what other people are showing you. You're finding something in media. You're letting go of self-criticism, and you're realizing that maybe some of your values can shift and adjust and fit in with what others are showing you. But you let me know, Taurus, this is a lot about your money, your health, your food, whether you're showing up in a present moment or you have unknown subconscious habits to just disconnect from people and not be fully present or feel fully connected. And think about your values, think about what you share with the people that you care about. Don't worry about the stuff that you don't care about, the stuff that is different than other people and the stuff that you judge. Think more about the commonalities you have, and I think that's going to lead you in the right direction. But you tell me, Taurus, I would love to hear how this is showing up. With subconscious stuff, it could take a while. You could just bit by bit be exposed to what's trying to come out, or it could have been going on for the last 2 weeks. If you would like to process more with a one-on-one reading with me, that's always the most helpful to understand how this is actually affecting your chart and what the purpose of some of the energy showing up right now is and throughout the year. Would love to see you there. My booking link is in the description below. Thank you so much for chatting in the comments and hanging out with me for this video. Have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Gemini. This is a 6th house full moon for you. This is all about work, day-to-day activities. The 6th house is routines and things that just become habitual in life. Health is also a really important one here. And this house, combined with Scorpio, is potentially, for some of you, a constant need to try and fix psychology and transform and work on things. A lot of Geminis are open and curious and can take in a lot of information, but sometimes that can be overwhelming if there isn't a funnel to discern what's helpful and what's not. When it comes to a Scorpio's 6th house, where this full moon is, there could be an overwhelm of emotional content that is affecting day-to-day life. Or If it's not overwhelming, if it's working well for you, that's wonderful. And this could be a shift. It could be a new level of seeing below the surface and seeing the motivations behind things that you get done every day. When we understand what motivates us, we are more efficient. We're putting our energy into the things that matter. Some of you could actually work in psychology and work in transformational coaching and processing with people. And often the people that work in those fields are going through their own work as well. So if you have been feeling overwhelmed with psychological change in the deep underworld, then this is a moment where you reach a level of completion, a finale of some kind, and you can move on from whatever it is that you have been working on. If you have subconscious habits, then those could show up and they could just vanish with a full moon here. That's the thing with the planetary support, is that sometimes it really kicks change into high gear, especially a Scorpio full moon. Because this is the 6th house and we have the nodal axis on Virgo and Pisces, which is overlapping energy of the 6th and 12th house, and then Venus in your sign squaring the nodes, this is where you're recalibrating Venusian topics. Venus for you is the ruler of your 5th house and your 12th house. So these Venusian topics are going to have to do with typical Venus things like money, beauty, pleasure, food, nourishment, the general enjoyment of life. But carry in some of the topics again of 12th and 5th house. Are you using your intuition, or are you checking out with pleasure? Are you overindulging rather than dealing with things head on? Are you showing up authentically, or are you masking with certain beauty things? The way we dress, the way we show ourselves in the world. When Venus is in your 1st house, these are some of the conversations or topics that might be more relevant for you right now. You might want to change your look. This is a wonderful time to upgrade your look when Venus is in your sign. So you have about a month for that. With Uranus in your sign now too, you could want to do some radical changes to who you are and what in the way that you present yourself to the world. A green light for that if you've been thinking about doing any more radical changes. All the planets direct, things are in really good condition. Your ruler is combust by the sun, so more applicable to you for May 7th to May 22nd. Keep that window in mind. May 9th is the Cazimi, so that could be a positive day for some of these changes. May 8th, depending on where you are in the world. And back to this Venus squaring the nodes, though, this is encouraging going into thinking about the energy at the core of things, not just what's on the surface. And for Geminis, this is showing up a lot in your image. You have these planets in your 1st house, Venus and Uranus, which is about our persona, how people see us. And then the 10th house is where the North Node is, which is getting the square from Venus, which is your career, your achievements, but also a place that represents who we are out in the world. There could be some tension between the energy that you want to create for your public image and your career and the kind of energy that gains recognition and achievements, and the way that other people perceive you, the way that your persona shows through. This is just a moment where you see things differently, and it's an opportunity to change action from the past and create something different. So any challenges that come up with how other people see you, think about it that way, that this could just be an aha moment where you decide that you're going to change something about that. And it could be actual careers for some of you. Maybe some of you are in beauty and aesthetics and food and nutrition, which would fit into the 6th house changes. So this could be very work related for Geminis as well. Wonderful energy for gaining clients. That's the 11th house. You have a stack of planets in the 11th house, encouraging more energy in that part of your life. You're aligning with like-minded people, which can be your clients, maybe team members that are helping you. The full moon in the 6th house of Scorpio also is your workmates, employees, people you work with, people that you see every day. So there's a lot activated here. This is, in large, a lot about the general public that you connect with. The 11th house is your communities and networks, and the 6th house is those day-to-day people. The 10th house and 6th house are both career related, and then you have these two image related houses lit up as well. Wonderful opportunity for Geminis to refocus the people that you connect with, the way that you gain connection with people at work, with employees and coworkers and the audience that you're trying to reach. Wonderful energy for those of you who are doing presentations and getting yourself out there. Mercury in your 11th house, so leading up to this full moon, is getting a lot of positive attention. Within a few days after the full moon, when Mercury goes into your 12th house, and this will be dependent somewhat on your individual birth charts as well, but that's where you could feel like things are a bit foggy again and you need to rework how you communicate or rework something about yourself, because Mercury is your ruler. Do take advantage of the positive Mercury energy up until this full moon. You've got a lot of motivation and stamina, and you could reach a very large audience that can be your allies, that can support you in whatever path you're embarking on. Changes in your routine are likely changes in your health, and that largely could have to do with psychology and looking at the underworld of your mind and your psyche and going a bit deeper, Gemini, and changing routines and health as a result. Would love to hear how this is showing up for you, Gemini. Are you in the public? Are you doing presentations? Or do you feel like you're being seen differently right now? And maybe that's affecting your 6th house routine and work and habits. It's so much fun hearing from you in the comments. Thank you so much for chatting with me there, for reaching out for one-on-one Zoom readings. If you would like to book a reading with me, my link will be in the description below. Have a wonderful Scorpio full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Cancer. This is a 5th house full moon for you. In Scorpio, this is a full moon that has to do with who you are at your authentic core. What psychological transformations can you go through, have you already gone through, that are helping you illuminate a new way of being in the world when it comes to being authentic, but also having a certain amount of authority over yourself, over the way you carry yourself. This is all of that 10th house activity. Mars right now in your 10th house is in square to Jupiter in your sign. And this is a larger than life type of energy. This is where you could feel like you show up in a situation and you have to push who you are, push that you're in charge, push your authority. And it's going to show you the ways that you can bring some balance into that so that so that your assertiveness doesn't have to be loud, but it gets the same results. It doesn't have to cause friction or conflict, but it gets the same results. It reminds me of the archetype of Medusa, though we're not bringing that into the general reading for everyone, but the death stare, the stare that turns men to stone. This isn't literally about turning men to stone, but it is about the effect of having that type of inner strength in the energy that you convey when you are taking on a leadership position, or you're just confronted with people who challenge your sense of authority in the world and challenge the ways that you go about it. This is also the type of energy when we're talking about a square from Mars in the 10th house. This is about breaking through what's been done in the past, the structures that you follow for the sake of being in a certain business and the way things have always been done, or even the way that authority and leadership gets done based on old models. This is a breakthrough moment in a lot of ways where you're getting more of a psychic connection potentially, because Uranus is now in your 12th house. And if you want more information on that, check out my Uranus and Gemini video. It'll be linked in the description below. But this Uranus-Venus connection in your 12th house right now is squaring the nodes, and it's Venus is squaring the nodes, but it's lighting up that intuitive, energetic connection to things. So whatever is showing up, you are tapping into a new ability to feel your way through the situation. And people can perceive that when you're not actively trying to fix things, because we have the South Node getting that square in Virgo in your 3rd house. So when the words that you say are talking, or your day-to-day mind is in that space of wanting to fix things, that alone can create some friction and energy. It's like coming across with criticism as well when you don't mean to. That's not the words that you're trying to use or the energy that you are showing up with. But there's something below the surface, because we're talking about Scorpio, that could be giving that impression. It's that South Node in Virgo that you're releasing a way of communicating and releasing a mindset. Maybe releasing even the way that you look at certain types of social media. You could be changing the things that you absorb and the things you look at through social media. Because you are wanting the North Node in your 9th house, which is activated by this Venus square, you're wanting the bigger picture. You're wanting a spiritual purpose to things. And so you're in this period where you're seeing that some chit chat and some media is maybe a waste of time, or it's not healthy for your brain, or it's just not getting you where you want to go. It could be through media that you start to see there's a higher purpose to certain ways that you are showing up for authority in the world. With a 5th house full moon, this can have to do with children, hobbies, dating, romance, fun, play. A lot of topics covered here, other than just being your authentic self. They're all connected to authenticity and to who you are at an energetic core. But for the physical ways that this could show up for the moon, there could have something to do with children, the way that you are an authority figure with children, the way that you co-parent with your spouse, or the way that you co-parent could have to do with authority figures in school and those sort of things as well. Not for everyone, of course, but that's one of the ways that these leadership and authority challenges could show up, and wanting to change the way old structures have been done. But do remember, it comes from the energy first. This is a moment where you're going to see yourself get a bit larger, potentially to deal with whatever is showing up. And this is a time with Jupiter in your 1st house getting this square from Mars, where you could feel the desire to get really big energetically in order to handle whatever is showing up. If you do, and whatever, it might be exactly what's needed, but this is an opportunity where you get to observe yourself. That's what everything is trying to point to, is that you get to reflect on how you're handling, you get to reflect on how you're showing up in certain situations, what matters to you, what your energy is underneath the things that you're saying, and is that getting you to a place of leadership and authority that you want? Are your words and mindset matching the energy that you want to convey? And most of all, is the energy in line? I've noticed this myself lately, where there have been situations that have shown up where no matter what I tried to convey with my own energy, my health and the vibration and the frequency of my body was conveying something different. And once I shifted some of that, then some of the reactions I was getting out in the world were changing. And Jupiter is the ruler of your 6th house of health and routine and habits. So you could be changing those things too, and noticing how what we do every day really counts towards that frequency that we give off and how people read us. But Cancer, I would love to hear from you. How is this showing up in your life right now? Are you noticing changes in your mental patterns, in the way you step out in the world, in feeling like you could be your unique, free, authentic self, because this is a 5th house full moon, even though I'm talking so much about the 10th house for you. For you, more than other signs, this stacked Aries part of the sky is going to be more impactful because it's your 10th house and Jupiter in your 1st house, which are the angles. So you're going to feel that just as strongly as the full moon. But the purpose is to feel authentically you, to step into these leadership and authority positions and make it all work in a different way than you have before. Thank you so much for being here, for watching this video, for chatting with me in the comments, and reaching out for Zoom calls if you would like to book a reading with me. My link will be in the description below. Have a wonderful Scorpio full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Leo. This is a 4th house full moon for you. So this is all about your home, your inner world, the family you came from, your place of origin, all of that family lineage stuff. And it's Scorpio, so what's showing up in your life that is helping you work through family dynamics, family patterns, ways of operating in the world, and maybe even a shared psychology that you have inherited from your family. When there is a full moon in the 4th and 10th house axis, there's tension between who you are out in the world, where you're trying to go, the career that you're moving into, the ways that you want to feel secure, because it's Taurus in the 10th house. So you want the pleasures of life, you want financial security, you want all of that good stuff. Maybe you even want to be seen for that stuff. But there's something that needs to shift in the inner world first, in the underworld. This is a time where a lot of Leos could literally be going into the underworld and going on some discovery to figure out what has been hidden from you with family patterns. Jupiter is in your 12th house of Cancer, and that is also an energy about going into the energetic realm of connectedness that we all experience as humans. And this is Cancer, so this has to do with family. This is also the house of dreams, rest, dissociation, illusion. Where is it that you might be dissociating or be under illusion of family dynamics? And this is a time where you bring that to the surface. Through dream life is very possible, through rest and meditation, through psychic connection, you start to understand more of this complex, energetic subworld that influences our physical, practical, day-to-day life. A lot of Leos could also be exploring more spiritual practice, more 9th house topics, having a teacher, becoming a teacher, having a spiritual teacher come into your life that helps you change your perspective on something. It could come through conflict. It could come through conflict and tension around 12th house topics where Jupiter is, because Mars is squaring Jupiter here from your 9th house. So there is a checking point of there is a crisis that is requiring different action here. There's a belief system of yours that's changing, that's helping you connect to energy and rest differently. It could be through dissociation and through disconnection or dissolving that you realize something different about your belief systems and about the direction that you want to go in the world. Venus is in your 11th house, squaring the nodes, and the nodal axis is in your 8th and 2nd house. The 8th house is also the house of Scorpio by classic position. So you have double emphasis on the Scorpio archetype here, which is going to make this all that more psychologically transformational for you, or a focus on other people's resources, how other people's resources support you, how you receive support and energy from others. On a more practical note, this could have to do with taxes as well. A dissolving of some kind with Pisces here. Venus in the 11th house, though, being part of the square to the nodes, indicates that there's probably a connection with community networks, specifically women, or if you're connected with beauty or art or food or any of those Venusian things, money as well. Something within your networks of people activates the nodal axis for you to go back over where we've been having eclipses. And again, this is money houses for you. The 2nd and 8th house axis is your resources, how you manage your money, how you nourish your body, and other people's. How do you merge intimately? How do you merge financially? How do you get support from other people? When we're talking about Pisces, there is a level of needing to just step into the energy, step into the frequency and the feeling of what you want to create. And this is a moon that has a lot of emphasis on feelings. This is Scorpio, the water signs. The North Node is in Pisces, another water sign. Jupiter is in Cancer. We got a lot of watery hits here. So that you could be feeling more emotional, and that could be part of the process of uncovering more of the psyche that you are trying to change. And that's all it is. So be patient with the process. If it comes up in a more emotional way than you would like, it won't be everyone, but it could happen with a Scorpio full moon. Know that it will pass. Know that it is helping you bring something to the surface that was very likely creating subconscious behavior that you would rather be free of right now. And with this change in perspective, with getting the right ideas from people in your community and networks, you're well on your way to changing whatever it is that you're working on, Leo. This is a time where you could be seen in a different light. Your status could change. Your home life could change. Your career and home could be going through changes for some of you. That's with Jupiter and with 9th house activity and Jupiter in the 12th house. Those are also houses that have to do with foreign places, overseas places, and travel. So that, again, for some of you could show up in that way. But the overarching energy is about your perspective in the world, your perspective on your inner world. So this is very inner and outer for Leos. What goes on the inside, what's been passed down to you through family lineage. That is what's going to change your mindset right now with all of these 9th house planets. That there's something that could be changing with career and status that's changing your mindset. And overall, it's helping you connect with the right people. You're getting a huge hit of this for the next 8 years with Uranus in your 11th house. Check out my Uranus in Gemini video if you want more information on that. But the people are here to support you. You're going to go through some crazy journeys with the communities and networks that you're a part of. And they're going to be a big part of what changes in your inner world right now and what changes in your perspective. Would love to hear from you, Leo. Let me know in the comments below what's showing up in your life. Are you feeling some of this friction? Are you going into the underworld? Are you loving it? Are you being patient with yourself? It's so much fun hearing the real life stuff in the comments. So thank you for that. Thank you for hanging out for this video. And if you would like to chat more with me with a one-on-one session, my booking link is in the description below. Have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you next time. Virgo, this full moon is in your 3rd house. This is communication, close relatives, siblings, people that are in close proximity to you. But more importantly, this is always about communication, because for some people that will play out in the arena of neighbors and cousins and siblings. But everyone will have some form of communication, potentially media, marketing. Vehicles can be covered here, short distance travel. Your daily thoughts, though, it's daily thoughts and communication that are the highlight. Your daily thoughts could be of scorpionic nature. You could be thinking about deeper topics, like underworld, shadow work. And with the sun in the opposite 9th house, this polarity is putting mundane thoughts into higher purpose, or balancing this axis in a way that makes more of your daily thoughts have significant purpose. What I find really interesting for Virgos is that Venus is at the top of your chart. Uranus is now here in your 10th house, and Venus is squaring your axis, yourself and your partnership house. Virgo, Pisces, this is where the eclipses have been. So themes from the eclipses could come back around. But really, you're letting go of Virgo qualities that are holding you back and probably holding you back from the places you want to go in career, the image you want to create in career, because Venus is about beauty and Pisces can be about creating an image, an illusion. But Pisces is also truth. It is the real energy at the core of a situation. With Venus squaring this axis, you're going to be letting go of a Virgo quality that helps you balance out more of the scales in the Pisces Virgo axis. So what is it about yourself that you're adjusting right now that's helping you be seen in a better light, that's helping your partnerships? It could be work partnerships coming together. Things that come to mind are worry and needing to fix things, leaning into trust of things just being. Actually had a random thought right before recording this video that what if I actually just thought that everything I did was right instead of my default, which is to think everything that I just did is wrong somehow and I should have done it better, I should have been more efficient, I should have taken this route instead of that route, and all of that stuff. It's been on my mind the last couple of days because I felt like I was just driving around making mistakes of efficiency. But maybe that was how I was supposed to spend my days. So those are the sort of things, Virgo, that you could be thinking about and adjusting. What would life feel like? How would your energy emanate if you just trusted that what you were doing was exactly what it was supposed to be? Even if 2 minutes later you found a better way, because you're a Virgo, so you probably are always a little bit in that mindset. And this brings me back to the third house mindset moon that we're having. This is a culminating point. This is an ending. You could be putting an end to certain thought and loop spirals that Virgos can do, because with all signs, what is the biggest strength in when not in balance can become the biggest hindrance. If you're too self-critical, you can't get to the places you want to go in work. Even if you act the act and talk the talk, there's a quality of energy that emanates from someone when they don't trust themselves, when they're stepping into a role that they don't really believe they can do. So this is a moment where you get to change your thought patterns, change the things that you tell yourself every day, change the things that you think about, that you write about, that you talk about. And this is all going to help you, I think, 10th house stuff, even though we are talking about a third house full moon, where we're talking about your thought patterns and your knowledge with the sun in the 9th house. But this Uranus and Venus in your 10th house squaring the nodes is significant, and it's going to bring a lot of focus on your career. This is about achievements, success, but this is about climbing the ladder, taking the steps. This is the strategy to get where you want to go. Things are clicking into place. You might even see something on social media that helps you strategize with career. And with Uranus here, you're breaking the mold of something that hasn't been done before. It could be that hasn't been done before at all, but it is really something that you have never done before. Perhaps in career, you have always followed certain steps and certain practices, and there's been a program, and now you are needing to create that program all on your own. What does that look like? And it's tempting, with Virgo qualities, it's tempting to scrutinize and to constantly improve, but there's a place where it's good enough. And then improvement is a never-ending job. It doesn't end until the day that we die, and then who knows what happens then. So this could be a moment of exercising that practice of things are good enough the way they are. Things are getting you where you want to go. And you do have the 8th house of Aries lit up. Mars there squaring Jupiter. Mercury conjunct Chiron. So this is a scorpionic house. This is another house of topics that are going to bring you to psychological thought pattern work, shadow work, all that scorpionic stuff. You are another one of the signs that has extra Scorpio energy around this full moon. So big transformation. This also, with all these planets in your 8th house, this has to do with resources, other people's resources. So this is debts owing, things that you manage when it comes to bills and taxes and other people. There could be some restructuring and reframing that you're doing there. I see this being a lot about mindset for Virgos because the money house is about mindset as well. It's about how you handle change. And with Mercury conjunct Chiron here, it is about past wounds around resources and being supported by other people. Something could come up around how you receive support, how you merge assets with others. If you are in work of psychology or psychological transformation or coaching of any kind, this could be another peak moment where your connections grow. You have Jupiter in the 11th house getting the square from Mars. So your connections are expanding. Your audience, the people you are reaching, the people that are here to support you as well. So allies and people with shared missions. With this Mercury combust phase from May 7th until May 22nd, this is going to be largely in your 9th house of higher learning, teaching, creating purpose out of these thoughts that you're paying attention to. This is where I'm curious to hear how this plays out. Mercury is also your ruler. You might feel a bit more of a challenge expressing what you want. If you are a teacher, you might come across some resistance or challenges that help you push through new barriers and become a better teacher. You might have a teacher come into your life that reshapes who you are because Mercury is your ruler, but that reshaping can be a bit misunderstood. Mercury combust when it's within 8 degrees of the sun can just make mercurial topics slightly more challenging. And for you, that's going to have to do with your first house, with you, but also your thoughts and your communication. Whenever that happens, it's not just to experience a challenge, but it's for the purpose of growth and expansion. It's when we face issues with communication and challenges with getting the word out there, challenges with creating the teaching material that you want if you are a teacher, because this is 9th house stuff. But it's an opportunity to rework your sense of security in your knowledge, because Taurus is the ruler of your 9th house, and Taurus is a fixed sign. It's stable. It knows what it's doing. It really could show you where you have some insecurities about your persona, what you have to offer the world, your teachings, and that ends up expanding in the end as a result of you paying a little bit more attention to the things you didn't realize were holding you back, potentially with insecurities. Lots of ways this could play out, Virgo. I would love to hear from you. Mercury's your ruler from May 7th to May 22nd. Do you feel your energy change? I'll check it again with the next video. Thank you so much for chatting with me in the comments, letting me know what's going on in your life, hanging out with me for one-on-one Zoom calls. If you would like to process more with a personal reading with me, check out my booking link in the description below. Have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Libra. This is the 2nd house full moon for you. So this is all about your assets, your resources, your money, how you manage your energy, how you nourish your body, your possessions. What do you spend your money on? This full moon axis of the moon in your 2nd house and the sun in your 8th house is going to ask for more balance on this Scorpio Taurus axis. This is a lot about security. The sun is in Taurus and it is reflecting in the Scorpionic moon. What is it about your sense of security, your sense of self-worth, your sense of stability in the world? What is it that you can fine-tune right now that helps you feel more stable, more grounded, more energy? There's likely some shadow work that can come up, essentially subconscious thoughts, beliefs, patterns about money that you can let go of right now. This is the abundance mindset stuff. These are topics that are on my mind a lot. What is the difference between being frugal and smart with our money and not holding it back or being guarded or feel like we never have enough, being afraid to spend? we need to spend and let go and release energy in order to get it back. The more that we're in this flow, the more that things come to us as well. And it's the same with our self-worth. If we feel confident, if we have a lot of energy to give, we often get a lot of energy back from others as well. Topics around merging resources with others, bills that you pay, debts, taxes, and your own possessions. This is a time with the full moon in your second house where you could be releasing things that you don't need. It's also a time where you want to change how you nourish your body, because that's where we get our best energy. And it's shocking to me sometimes how much of a difference it makes in my mental health when I'm eating in ways that I know my body appreciates versus filling my body with things that it just depletes the energy to be able to digest and cycle through the body. Venus squaring the nodes is another archetype for security. It's the ruler of Taurus, where the sun is. It is about your self-worth, how you feel about your own beauty, internal and external, and resources. It is also your ruler, and it also rules relationships. When Venus is squaring the nodes, she is looking for more harmony in this nodal axis, which is Virgo and Pisces, where we've had a bunch of eclipses, and this is 6th and 12th house for you. Lucky for you, you're the master of harmony and balance, and that is what Libra is stepping in to take action on. So there's something to do with adding more trust in your routine. This is Pisces. This is where the North Node is and where we're putting more energy and attention. The best and most optimal functional, because it's in the 6th house, so you always have this balance and flipping of the houses. Where is it that you can put trust and flow into your routine and into your health? This is about the energy that is in your health as well. So that could connect to the food stuff. There's a lot of overlap there where you want to be focusing on your routines and your rhythms from an energetic perspective. Letting go of 12th house Virgo things that are holding you back, which could be being overly critical of rest time. The 12th house is a very important, it is 1/12 of the whole part of our lives. And this is rest, meditation, time away from the world, retreat, escape, overseas places, faraway places, hospitals, prisons, places that are excluded from society. In typical society, we might judge being hospitalized or being imprisoned, but from a spiritual perspective, these places of being taken care of, being separate from the functioning of society that happens in the 6th house is actually quite sacred. It's important. It can be a karmic rest place where we don't accrue or deplete more karma. And it is really just a place of growth before birthing. It's the cosmic womb. With Virgo here in the South Node, if you are criticizing rest or depleting rest or minimizing it, you could be depleting your own psychic attunement and connection to energy, which is actually depleting your ability to be well and get a lot done in your day-to-day life in the 6th house, which is Pisces. So this axis is flipped for you, where Pisces is the ruler of the 12th house by archetype and Virgo is the ruler of the 6th house by archetype. A Libra is going to be working on balancing these axes throughout their lives more than most people, and also more skilled at it. So this is one more step. What is it about your mindset? Because Venus is in your 9th house squaring this axis. It's your belief systems, your knowledge about the world, the way that you think the world works. It was just on my mind that the older we get, the more we actually have to retrain this part of our charts. This is the knowledge that we've gained through experience. And when I was in my 20s, I didn't have a lot of cares for the future. I was quite impulsive. I was really trusting in my capabilities. I was trusting in life. I did some pretty rebellious things, and everything worked out just fine. Now, in my mid 40s, I'm more afraid of everything. And it seems to just build over the years. And I think that's because experience shows me that things can go wrong. And that's part of how the brain development works with risk assessment. In our late 20s, depending on male and female, we develop that risk assessment part of our brains. And once we do that, the older we get, the more we realize there's risk involved in everything. I'm talking about all of this because Uranus is in this part of your chart. It wants you to break free of all of that. And it's not that you're going to go back to that early 20s risky adult behavior. Maybe you will. But you won't have fear guiding your decisions. You will just have this connection of knowledge of, that might be a little too risky for today. I'll play it safe. But you have this reprogramming moment right now where you can reprogram your beliefs about whatever it is that applies to you. Maybe it's completely different. I just wanted to throw that out there as an example that those are the sort of belief systems that I'm reworking at the moment to not have fear be an overwhelming presence in my life, even when I am taking steps with caution. And Libra, there's a lot of activity in your 7th house of partnerships. Mars is here, squaring your 10th house, Jupiter. Mercury and Chiron are conjunct. You could be recalibrating your belief systems about relationships, fears and wounds about past relationships. And that could have built a perspective of that 9th house stuff where Venus and Uranus is, that perspective building based on experience. Maybe you've had a certain amount of relationship experiences in life that have given you a certain set of belief systems, and now it's time to rework that. And when that happens, it looks like there could be some changes to your career, your status. Mars squaring Jupiter here it could change your status quickly. It can expand your career. It could expand your career partnerships and networks because this is connecting to partnerships. So I think that wounds are getting out of the way at this moment. That is part of a Scorpio full moon. It is going into the underworld where we bury our wounds and hurt feelings. And this is a time where that comes to the surface. You release it, you give it the right attention, and realize that that's a perspective you don't need to hold on to anymore. So you're changing your 9th house belief systems and perspectives based on experience. There's a lot of new beginnings going on in partnership house. This could be changing your status, your work, your career, your achievements out in the world. If some of you are teaching because of this 9th house Venus-Uranus activity, you could be teaching relationship healing work, and that's part of the Mercury-Chiron conjunction. And you're working on trusting the flow of your life and health, trusting that there's a time for rest, there's a time for work, and finding that really lovely balance for those things. But you let me know, Libra, this is a 2nd house full moon. This is your values, your self-worth, your assets, your energy. Is your energy coming back? Are you finding fun partnerships to help you along with your career, new gurus and mindsets, and maybe you're becoming a teacher? It's so much fun to hear what's really going on in people's lives. So thank you for commenting and for reaching out for one-on-one Zoom calls. If you would like to chat more with me, my booking link is in the description below. Have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you next time. Scorpio, happy full moon to you. This is your full moon. A full moon in your 1st house in Scorpio is about composting and transforming another layer of you. You're ready to release, you're ready to go deeper into your own underworld. Though I think with Scorpios, you are always doing that. A full moon in your sign, you get 1 per year. This is a culminating point of something that you started 6 months ago, 1 year ago. Where were you at those intervals? And what's showing up right now as far as the next change with self and maybe with relationships too? You have just had 8 years of Uranus in your partnership house of Taurus. What was stable, what was steady, what was of value could have completely radically changed and turned on its head. And now with the sun in your partnership house and Uranus moved on for quite some time, now it's going to be in your 8th house of bonding and merging finances with another person. If you want more on the Uranus component, my Uranus video will be linked below. But this is about you and other people. How do you interact with other people now that you've had Uranus through your 7th house of partnerships? And it could have been partnerships that were putting tension on you to change in some way. That's what happens when you have Uranus in your 7th house opposing your sign as well. You're getting this radical change, but it's coming from other people, and it's through like a mirror full moon reflection. You're seeing other people go through radical change, and you might have wanted some of that too. Something could be changing with your body, and it could be just really how other people see you. Maybe you already have gone through these radical changes, and now this is a moment where the tools and the assets that you bring to situations are different and people see you differently. Venus and Uranus now in your 8th house is again this scorpionic topic of deep emotional, psychological bonding, deep transformation, merging resources with another. Venus here is squaring the nodes in your 5th and 11th house. Leaning into your 5th house energy, what is it about Virgo and Pisces and community and yourself, your true authentic nature is being highlighted here? Are you truly yourself when you're merging with another person? If it's with the 5th house that's being squared with the North Node and Pisces, could be about children, could be about hobbies, fun, but it's really this childlike, authentic nature within yourself that's creative and expressive. You've had a lot of activity here. This is another activation moment where you're feeling more authentically you because you're doing even more psychological processing, very likely. You're going through more emotional layers, you're feeling through things. I get the impression that you're feeling more confident in bonding deeply with other people, with a significant person even. What you're letting go of in this 5th and 11th house balancing moment is that you're letting go of Virgo tendencies in your community. Do you tend to criticize community and how they function? Do you tend to find problems and want to fix them? Are you of service? Are you overly of service to the community and to your networks and to the allies and the people that are here to support you? This is another topic that's coming up a couple of times, is how do you receive support from other people? And if you're feeling drained by your communities, if there's something that's not quite fitting, is there something that you want to let go of so that you keep the systems and the communities that you're connected to? Or are your values changing? Is your energy changing and your psychology changing? And as a result, it's time to let go of some of the communities that you're a part of. The 6th house is going to be a focus for quite some time. Right now, we still have a stack of planets in Aries. For you, this is in the house of Virgo, work, service, health, routines, habits. You're transforming this part of your life. You're showing up with more passion and more vigor and more intention and desire to take action in the things that you do every day. This could be actual service to other people, but it could be service to yourself. It could just be having a busier day-to-day life. At least right now, with Mars in your 6th house of Aries, things could be ramping up with work and routines, and you just have a lot on your plate. For some of you, if this does have to do with children, with the North Node in the 5th house, then it could be children that are making your routines and your day-to-day life busier. With Chiron and Mercury conjunct here in your 6th house, Mercury is the ruler of your 8th house and your 11th house. Shared sensitivities of self-expression with the people that you connect with your day-to-day life, with your coworkers, with your employees. Some of you could be in some sort of self-help, and this is a moment where you are bringing more psychology into your work and you're helping people with assertiveness and taking action and being authentic and just being brave and taking bold action often without knowing exactly how things are going to play out. That's the North Node in your fifth house as well. There is a recurring theme of trusting the fun, trusting leaning into what brings you joy. And when it's true joy, we're not avoiding life. We're choosing things that enrich in our life, and we're still getting our tasks done and our day-to-day stuff, but we're doing it from a place of truly enjoying what we're doing. Sometimes that's a mindset shift. Sometimes it's just deciding that we're going to enjoy things that are boring tasks. That's the sixth house too. It's not stuff we necessarily want to do, but it's stuff that just has to get done to get by in the world. And there's an energy and a mindset that we can bring to that. That could be Mars in your sixth house, squaring Jupiter in your ninth house of mindset, belief systems, your views and perspectives around the world, your spiritual practices. Jupiter here is in trine to the full moon in your sign as well. So belief systems and your experiences in the world and how that has created a certain mindset and overview is really important right now. So Scorpio, you're doing your Scorpio thing. You are going through the shadow work. You're going into your underworld. You're looking at your belief systems, how they are helping or hindering your authentic expression, how they are helping you bond and merge with other people. What's going on with yourself in partnerships right now? You're reaching a whole new threshold of how you show up in partnerships, how you show up with other people. And I think showing more of who you really are. Be vulnerable right now. Show the underworld, show the psychology. Scorpios can tend to see it easily in others and assume that others do too. So they don't always have the vocabulary or the desire to share that. But this is a moment where sharing that is going to be really helpful. It's going to help your work. It's going to help you take more initiative in the day-to-day life things that you want to do. You're going to have more zest to get things done. You could be teaching and helping other people with that assertiveness too, and just going for what we want in life and having the right mindset and energy that goes along with that. You tell me, Scorpio, you are going to have the best information for all of us for this full moon. How have you been feeling? Are you feeling like you are going deeper into your psyche, like you are changing at the core of your energy, like you have more to share with other people, and this is somehow helping your health and your work? Would love to hear. It's so much fun hearing what's going on in the comments. If you would like to chat more with me, check out my booking link in the description below. Have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Sag. This is a 12th house full moon. This is a time when you can have something that was hidden come to light. The 12th house is about the energy that connects all things, but it's that unseen realm. What is behind the veils? This is overseas places. The 12th house can dissolve what has been. So for you, this full moon could be even more impactful for letting something go. We'll get into more of that, but Scorpio topics in the 12th house when it comes to intuition and meditation. You could be facing fears that you didn't know you had. You could be facing different shadow aspects of yourself. Parts of yourself that you have decided were not helpful moving forward and you wanted to repress, but they still exist. That's that Scorpio quality. There is life under the depths of the sea, and it does influence us in subconscious ways. The sun is in your sixth house in this opposition, so there is balance and a point of tension showing up here. This could be between rest and work, service and health, and needing to take a time out. This could be using energy to your advantage and working on your sense of security and stability in the things you do every day, because Taurus is the ruler of your sixth house. So what routines do you have? Which habits are contributing to a sense of stability and security in the world? And which ones might need to go or be dissolved? And what energy can you conjure up inside of you that helps create a sense of security no matter what your day looks like? You have a jam-packed fifth house of Aries. Mars is here squaring Jupiter in your eighth house, which again is scorpionic topics. This is about your psychology merging with others. Jupiter is extremely healing here, and it is especially focused right now on healing things that are connected to family lineage. Jupiter in the sign of Cancer is healing family energy that can have to do with your chosen family, people close to you. Again, topics of a sense of safety, though. This is emotional safety in Cancer. And when you have energy that is speaking to emotional safety in a house which this is the eighth house, which asks for transformation and letting go, small deaths of self can happen in the eighth house, where a version of who we were gets to be re-imprinted, but we have to compost and dissolve or integrate that past version of self. Who have we been in family connections up until this point? And which direction do you want to go in with your psyche and the sense of family safety and home safety that you can create within your own psyche? Topics with another person, topics of home and connecting family matters could show up on a physical level for some of you. So if you have important partnerships in your life, whether that's business or romantic or otherwise, topics of your past family lineage together and how that merges as one moving forward could be part of the focus. Venus and Uranus are in your seventh house. Get ready for a relationship ride, Sag. There's likely going to be a lot of different people showing up in your life that are helping you break through into new versions of yourself within partnerships. You could attract more radical people into your life that help you, again, just transform old trauma as it relates to connecting with other people, but really just do something that hasn't been done before. And that's what we're all doing to a big degree. We are recognizing, and we're in a place where we are more aware of functioning on repeat based on hurt and trauma, rather than choosing a way forward that is more focused on love and connection. Recognizing where we are operating by repetition or default is important in making a conscious change. Sagittarius are one of the signs that are really getting activated by this Venus square the nodes. So your values around relationships are creating a crisis of action for your career and your home life. There are some things you're looking to let go of right now on the Virgo side of the axis in your 10th house. So self-criticism around how you're seen in the public in your own career. Maybe an over-focus on detail and trying to fix things as it relates to career and public image and status, and being able to let go and just be who you want to be. I see this showing up strongly because the North Node is in your 4th house of your inner world, that part of yourself that you don't always show the rest. And you have this stacked 5th house of planets in Aries, which is about your authentic self-expression, who you are at your most childlike version of yourself. This could have to do with topics around actual children, hobbies, fun, dating, romance. But there's a quality that I think is most important to focus on that is about getting down to the core of who we are. And when you have the North Node in your 4th house and all of these planets in your 5th house, that's what that is. It's the root. It's the foundation at the bottom of your chart. How does that relate to how you are seen in public? Are you wearing a mask, or are you trying to work with strategy in the way that things have always been done? How do you assert your authority? And you might have to minimize some of that with Virgo South Node in the 10th house, or it might be time to have a different version of how you step up into your own authority and step into leadership. It's through partnerships, and this is the Venus squaring these houses. Back to that, it's going to be through partnerships and discussing values with another person that you realize there's something different that you want to show up with in your inner world and your outer world, in your leadership and in your authority. So I do see the risk of power struggles for some Sages, and that's one that I haven't talked about enough with the full moon in Scorpio, is that for all signs, this could show up as power struggles in the outer world and figuring out the best way to resolve conflict and move forward so that both parties don't feel like they have to fight for space. So that part will be different for everyone's unique situation. There's a dance that we do when we show up in a negotiating space with someone else. If someone else is showing up in a really strong energy, the tendency is to match that. And sometimes if someone's showing up in a very weak energy, we need to be the strong one. If someone else is showing up in a very strong energy, we can also take on that weaker, more passive position. I think we're all moving towards more awareness on how to show up so that we can meet in the middle with people. We don't have to fight for space. We don't have to fight to be right. Some conflicts, though, are really challenging and perspectives differ, and it's hard to figure out how to see eye to eye, and sometimes we just don't. So power struggles could be a very real topic. You could be facing fears around your preference to hide. This goes back to a full moon in the 12th house. If you have a tendency to want to escape or withdraw when you are in challenging leadership positions or someone else is having authority or power over you, then, and it will be different for every Sag. This is where personal readings can be more useful, but just in a general sense, how do you show up in those more challenging situations? This will be a moment where partnerships, career and reputation, the way that you were raised by your family, and your true authentic nature and inner world all come into play, and you get to call on these spaces, especially what is authentic to you, what feels right, what you were raised to do by your family, but most important is that it aligns with your values, your relationship values, your values around your own self-worth, and your values on what it means to step into the world with a certain amount of authority and not need to hide or rest or run away. Though a full moon in the 12th house could give you an opportunity to take more rest, to take a time out and to learn how to balance rest and work in a different way. It also could mean that there are actual topics of overseas stuff coming into play for some of you. Hidden things in general come to light right now, Sag. There's a lot going on in the sky right now, and I would love to hear how this is playing out in your world. It's so fun hearing the real life stories in the comments, so thank you for chatting there and reaching out for one-on-one Zoom readings. It's really fun to meet you as well. Check out my booking link in the description if you're interested in that. For now, have a wonderful Scorpio full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Capricorn. This is an 11th house full moon for you. So this is all about networks, community, the people that support you in life, your allies, your audience. This is a wonderful place to have a full moon. This is seen as one of the more fortunate houses, though Scorpio can be a challenging place to have a full moon. This is a time where you can become more aware of the dark side of your social groups or connections. Some of these awarenesses could challenge your sense of security in being authentic, being who you really are. This is the sun in Taurus in your 5th house. This is what makes you shine, what makes you feel childlike. The 5th house where the sun is fun, hobbies, creative expression, creative joy. When you're being really authentically you, that childlike version. So when that is in opposition and tension and reflecting in the moon, there's something about being yourself within the system, within a group, that is going to become the focus of your attention right now. It could be that something about a group has to go, needs to be let go of and released in order for you to find people that match who you are, how you have fun, and whatever makes you feel most authentic. This could be a time when something comes to fruition and people within your community or groups do start to align and click into place with who you truly are. Venus squaring the nodes is happening from your 6th house to your 3rd and 9th house axis where you've had eclipses. So there's something you're going back over with work project, with health, with routines, with habits. This is your day-to-day life and your values are changing with Venus here. Relationships could have to do with it. So if you have a relationship coming into your life, those are often, if you're living with someone, that changes your day-to-day life. And this is revolutionary energy with Uranus here. So there's the potential for something radically different to change in your routines and health. This breakthrough is coming from focusing on 3rd house topics, which is your mindset, your communication. How do you trust in going with the flow in your mindset? Because the North Node is in Pisces. Do you trust that when you make decisions throughout your day, that it's the right decision? Or do you go back over, and this is where we're letting go of Virgo qualities right now, which is your 9th house of overview of the perspective of life. Do you feel like things constantly need to be fixed? Do you see that there's a better way of doing things, but it drives you crazy that you're constantly seeing where things could improve, which means you're seeing the flaws, and your day-to-day mind, which is where this full moon is, wants to spend energy in what we want to create, not just what's broken and needs fixing. There's a responsibility in that energy that is quite noble and wonderful and skillful and very helpful, really. It's wonderful to have that in your 9th house of perspectives, but it also can overshadow your overall energetic well-being and trust in the world when your attention is on fixing problems. So the North Node in Pisces in your 3rd house, there's an activation right now that is encouraging more trust, more flow, definitely more creativity with the Sun in your 5th house. And it's through leaning into that energy and your creative self that you trust yourself more. That's one of the things with Venus in your 6th house with Uranus, is that we need to trust the choices we make every day. And this is the Virgo energy too. If we are constantly going back over that we could have done things differently, we could have done things better, but we chose what we chose, and there was good reason for that too, even if in hindsight it seems like we should have done something different. So this is a commitment energy, committing to yourself, committing to your choices, committing to your routine, committing to the way life is, and enjoying the process and the flow, and using the right language and the right mindset to get where you want to go. So healthy daily habits and routines, healthy mindset is where this moon is. So healthy daily routines and habits, healthy mindset is where the North Node is. And the lunar axis is about showing the world, showing your community, showing your connections, who you really are. Not who you want to be, not who you can be when everything's perfected and put together. Just the raw, creative self that everything is okay just the way it is. In the actual moment, it really can be. Even when there's pain, even when there's grief. That's the thing with a Scorpio full moon, is that we sometimes need to lean into those uncomfortable emotions. Leaning into the pain and leaning into grief and leaning into regret and leaning into shame are the ways that we make friends with it, and the ways that we can find comfort in the challenging times of life. You might be doing this with community, some of you. That's the full moon in your 11th house. You might find that other people are going through challenging scorpionic emotions too, and there's community in that, there's connection, and that brings another layer of something beautiful to the challenging emotional states that we go through in life. So it could go both ways. You could be both finding flaws and things you want to let go of in community and connection, but you could also be finding that core energetic and emotional thing that's like the glue that keeps you connected to the people in your life. The fourth house is stacked energy, and Mars specifically here as well for you. You have Mercury and Chiron conjunction in your fourth house. So I'll break it down. Fourth house is home. Mars here is dealing potentially with focusing on anger and eruptions and passion and initiation. Chiron and Mercury in your fourth house are speaking to a wound around communication, a sensitivity around speaking up, maybe being wounded in the past for your mindset and your belief systems. And you could be letting that go. You could be, this is the Virgo South Node again in your ninth house, letting go of judgment of your own mindset based on what happened when you were young, what the tradition is in your family lineage. And this could be igniting with Mars a new fire inside of you, a new initiation to feel more childlike, more Aries-like, more willing to go after what you want. So a lot of restructuring in your inner world with this energy. This is creating potentially conflict with relationships because Mars is squaring Jupiter in your seventh house. But if that's how it shows up, it's ultimately creating healing because Jupiter is one of our most healing, beneficial planets. It expands, so you're expanding partnerships and expanding connections. Because the full moon is in Scorpio, this is also about suppressed emotion, so you could be uncovering suppressed anger. And when you uncover that, you bring it to the surface, you're able to mentally label it, you're able to talk about it. That could be the healing factor in your relationships and partnerships. A Scorpio full moon could turn out lots of different ways, but theme and the topic is going to be about uncovering suppressed emotion. For you, I think there's a lot below the surface in your fourth house of home and family. It might be time for bits and pieces to come to the surface. And it looks like you're leaning more into communication. You're leaning more into emotional awareness. You're willing to talk about things. Whether it's received or not, it ends up being a very healing experience for your partnerships and potentially your communities and connections. You could also see something online that helps with part of this breakthrough, something in media that grabs your attention and helps you recover some of this emotional empowerment. Maybe even facing your fears with community and connection and audience. There's a layer of that when we're talking about Scorpio full moon in your 11th house too. I would love to hear from you, Capricorn. It's so much fun hearing the real life stories in the chat below. So thank you for reaching out there. Thank you for reaching out for one-on-one Zoom readings. If you would like to book with me, my booking link will be in the description below. Have a wonderful Scorpio full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Aquarius. This is a 10th house full moon for you. So this is all about your authority out in the world. Who are you when you're working towards achievements, when you're working in your career? This is how other people see you. This is also how you follow what has been done, tried, tested, and true sometimes to get where you want to go. But with a scorpionic edge, this is a layer where you want to look at your fears around success, your fears around your achievements and what it takes to get there. This is a time where you're analyzing what's holding you back. You're looking at subconscious material that is often the shadow emotions that we feel. Jealousy, rage, fear, control. Things that we would rather not believe about ourselves or the world that, in your case, when it comes to 10th house topics, are what's going on when it comes to getting to where you want to go. This is about creating a happy middle ground between your inner world, that Taurus, solid, steadfast, secure part of yourself, and how you activate authority when you need to. This could be a time when unseen things come to light with work and career and achievements. And whatever it is going to help you on a psychological level. It's going to help you psychologically transform anything, again, that's holding you back in your career or work or reputation or status. You have the sun in Taurus in your fourth house with this full moon. So you want to think about your vitality and your purpose in the world when it comes to home-related inner world topics. The family you came from. What were you taught about vitality and your soul's mission in your home life? What do you really believe in your internal world? And are you working towards vitality and your soul's purpose, or are you holding on for security in any way? Uranus and Venus are in your fifth house, and they are squaring the nodal axis in your second and eighth house. This is about your self-worth. This is about trusting in your self-worth and your value because you just are. You're part of this cosmic earthly experience. You have Pisces in the second house, so you could sometimes feel lost or foggy when it comes to what you value. You can go with the flow with how you eat and what you put into your body, and this might require more Virgo tasks from the eighth house. I will talk more about how we're letting go of some of the Virgo qualities, but when I think about the second house and how we take care of our body, this is the earth sign. This is connected to earthly responsibility. And Pisces is an opposition of that earthly responsibility. Pisces is more of going with the flow and dissociating and dreamlike and intuitive guidance. So you could feel lost at times when it comes to what value you have. That's one of the things that Pisces can bring. But what I would like to emphasize is that this full moon, regardless of where you are in your journey of self-worth and what you value in general, what you put your energy towards, what you put your money towards, how you spend your money. Do you have money leaks? Do you have energy leaks? All Aquarians in some way are going to be getting into the next step of this journey of evolution in that part of your life. And Venus in the fifth house with this square activation is about paying attention to what truly brings you fun, what truly is a creative self-expression for you, what is beautiful, what is artistic. You could be focusing on new ideas and excited to generate new ideas that make you feel more like you. So your creative projects are getting lit up, and this is somehow creating tension and asking you to do something more with your resources axis, how you receive support from other people, investments, your own energy management, how you manage energy with other people, how you pay debts and taxes, how you psychologically transform so that over the course of your life, you discover more of what you really bring the world, more of who you really are. That's what this square from Venus in your fifth house is calling you to do. We, throughout life, learn more about ourselves, feel more solid about the things that we have that are not by accident. They're strengths and gifts that we have to share in this life experience. Your third house is lit up, and that's where Mercury and Chiron are. So you could be going through fears of speaking, facing fears of communication, sharing your ideas. If you have wounds around communication, this is a time where things could be activated, likely to do with work because Jupiter is there in your day-to-day sector, or it could be habits and health routines. Whatever's showing up in life is an opportunity to see that your communication has value and worth. Your communication is unique, especially when it's coming from uniquely you. You're not, and this is back to the 10th house, authority, power struggles, stuff that could come up. Who are you when you don't have to fight for space? Who are you when what you have to offer matters? Period. That's just it. No one's questioning it. No one's challenging you. You're not challenging yourself. You don't feel like you have to fight for things or justify your creativity or justify who you are. It's just accepted the way it is by you as well. Then who are you? Then what does your creativity look like? And then how does it look when you step into conversations with other people for whatever reason, maybe about your creativity? When we step into those conversations and we don't feel like we have to fight to convince anyone, we don't have to feel like we have to battle for space, we don't feel like we're disvalued, we feel like we're appreciated. There's a different quality that we show up with. There's just a gentle certainty that we have in ourselves, in our work, in our creativity, in our public image, and in our status that does not need to be defended. That does not need to be masked with the scorpionic waters and put underneath so that no one sees who we really are. When we don't see our weaknesses as weaknesses, we don't have anything to hide. So for you, Aquarius, there's a lot to do with your values, what you truly value when no one else is watching, when you don't have to justify who you are. What do you value when you're not defining yourself by it? And how does your authority and status look when you also feel like you are good just the way you creatively are? Your communication is welcomed. And you could even be finding other people in the workplace that share similar communication and mental functioning sensitivities, and you could be bonding through that, or you could be helping other people through your approach to being more confident from a very relaxed, natural way. You could be setting an example for other people who don't feel comfortable with their communication. That's the Chiron Mercury conjunction. That's the Chiron wound, is that we by default end up mirroring and attracting people with similar sensitivities in the world. And when we change, they change. When they change, we change. And we grow together and we heal together through media, through the whatever is pop culture at the moment, whatever is spiritual pop culture. We're all globally, especially now with the internet, looking at the same things, talking about the same things, and changing how we feel about communication and technology and media at the same time. It looks like you have a role in this, Aquarius. Jobs could be changing, careers could reach a new level. You could end a job, gain a job, finish a contract, start a contract. All those sort of things are possible at a full moon, but often completion, fruition, something has reached its level. You could be putting a masterpiece out into the world of creative writing, and that would fit this chart reading really well as well, and it would be really well received, especially if it's of psychological nature and it's helping people psychologically transform those scorpionic topics. But in general, it will be, and it will help you break through any fears that you have of your own visibility and your own career success. But I would love to hear from you, Aquarius. Let me know in the comments. It's so much fun hearing the real life situations there. So thank you for chatting with me there, for hanging out for this video. If you would like to book a reading with me, check out my booking link in the description below. Have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you next time. Hi, Pisces. This is a 9th house full moon for you. So this is all about your perspective in the world, your beliefs, your spiritual practices. This is about experiencing life and forming perceptions and beliefs about it. A Scorpio full moon here could have you looking at your psychology differently, looking at past experiences differently, and looking at past experiences potentially, maybe even present experiences, because the full moon is present and it's in Scorpio. So it's helping you, whatever it is, it's helping you look at parts of yourself that you have repressed, past experiences that taught you certain things about the world, because that's the 9th house. If you have suppressed and you have subconscious beliefs about the world that are not helping you anymore, if you have subconscious fears that are locking in a certain view of how the world works, are you afraid that things are going to go wrong? We all have past experiences that we don't want to repeat, and our psyches go into protection in order to prevent us from doing that again. And what it does is it brings up an emotion that is uncomfortable, makes us stop and say, nope, don't go that way. That turned out badly last time. But it's not always the case. And as we go through life, this is the ninth house, we experience enough things that give us a certain mindset about how the world works. If those things have been traumatic, have had bad experiences, have had things you would rather not remember, then it can be debilitating to move forward, or you can feel like the world is just not a great place. A full moon here is going to help you chip away a layer so that you can make friends with some or one of your fears. You can make friends with jealousy, control, obsession, the things that our psyche holds on to for protective mechanisms. It doesn't really serve us in the moment. It limits our ability to have fun. It limits our ability to see others clearly and see situations clearly. Venus and Uranus are in your fourth house, home, family, inner world, and it's squaring the axis of you and partnerships. So there's something in your home life that's getting reset, new values. You're breaking the mold with relationship patterns and things of the past. You're getting new ideas to feed what you value, to feed your relationships. Maybe even to heal family wounds and inner world home stuff. What's happening with that is that it's changing you again. The North Node is still in your sign. You've had a lot of planetary activity. Pisces, it's not over yet. This revamping of personal self and how you connect with other people is getting lit up again for this full moon. Putting these things together, what is it about your past experiences in your home life and in your relationships that you can reprogram your perspective and your belief systems about the world? You're also now on this bigger journey of assets, values, second house topics, what you eat, how you nourish your body, how you nourish your energy, how you manage your energy, how you manage your money, how you manage your time in some ways. Saturn is here, the planet of time. You are fired up in these second house topics. You might be more motivated to manage your energy differently, to invest, to sort out your belongings and your assets. Maybe because of children for some of you, because Jupiter is in your fifth house and Mars is in the second house of values, squaring your fifth house. But for more of you, it's going to be about how your self-worth is impeding your creative self-expression, your ability to have fun and feel joy in the world, and feel like a kid again. Something is going to come up around this time that's going to bring that to your attention, and you're going to see what it is at a psychological level that you can let go of. So keep your eyes open for anything that jars your self-worth, your belonging, what you value, your sense of security in the world, your sense of safety at home and within partnerships. And it's going to be all for a perspective change. And with energy like this, it looks like it's about changing how much energy you give yourself, reworking your system of values as it relates to you at this particular moment. And when that happens, your view of the world might change. You might see, I think a lot of Pisces naturally have this. You are going to do your sorcerer magician thing and rework your inner energy. Scorpio is a very complementary moon space and sign in general for Pisces. These are the two sorcerer signs. So you're doing your reworking of your internal energy magic. And you realize that the world and all the problems you faced is for the empowerment that you have now to create change. Because if we didn't face all of these darker sides of life, we wouldn't realize how much power we actually have to change, how much we can change the frequency in our own bodies, but our perspectives on life. And, bit by bit, the realities of the world, that might not happen overnight, but it's all part of a process. And I think a lot of Pisces people are seeing that right now. So you're letting go of something Virgo too. You are letting go of something Virgo in your partnerships. You're letting go of fixing others. You're letting go of criticism of self and other. You're letting go of minimizing other people. You're letting go of worrying over the details of other people. It's going to be different for each of you. Worrying is a big one with Virgo because you can see all the possible things that could happen and the way things work. And naturally in life, sometimes things don't go well. And that's part of this perspective change in Scorpio, is that you're revamping that worry that something can go wrong. You're revamping the worry that you need to control things, especially with relationships, to make things better. You're leaning more into what you do best, Pisces, which is just trust and let go and go with the flow, go with the energy, and all you can do is continue to focus on the beautiful space that you embody as part of this greater cosmic process. And I hear some Pisces people say sometimes that they don't even feel like they exist. And that can be a very real thing for Pisces. I think the Saturn going through the sign of Pisces was about creating more boundaries. So you do feel like you have a body and a place in this world. But now this is about value. This is about real quality of importance that you and everyone brings to the table, no matter what the life path and life journey is about. We can't understand the full picture from our human perspectives. If anyone can, it's some of the Pisces people out there. So I would love to hear how you're feeling at the Scorpio full moon or leading up to it, Pisces. Are you feeling that wonkiness return about yourself and other and your perspectives of the world and how you can shapeshift and morph that to what you like, but also that dance of letting things just be and go with the flow? You tell me. This is a wonderful time to get more in touch with your fifth house of fun, dating, romance, children, play, and you're doing it from a place that really aligns with your values. And if you're not, that's when this Mars square is going to show you the friction so that you get uncomfortable enough to shift into what you really do want to do. Big perspective shift for you, Pisces. Perspective shift, energy shift. You're going through some emotional uncovering, and it's allowing you to have a lot more fun and play and see the value in it all. Have a wonderful full moon in Scorpio, Pisces. Thank you so much for hanging out for this video. If you would like a one-on-one reading with me, check out my booking link in the description below. I'll see you next time.